welcome to my backyard garden. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about two of my favorite teas plus one bonus that I have worked into my daily routine. It is very important that you understand this is not for diagnosing or treating, it's for informational purposes only. And hopefully, you will come away with a new understanding for what we consider garden weeds. As one of my CF brothers in arms, Mr. Terry Wright, would say, it's only a weed until you know what to do with it. So, hopefully, if some of the things we mentioned today you would have known as a weed, you'll now see it in a whole new light. So, this first plant is called mullein. It is a medicinal plant. It's known to thrive in lots, poorly treated areas with undisturbed soil. It has fuzzy leaves. It has been known to be called cowboy's toilet paper, if you can imagine. It is a flowering plant, and I'll tell you a little story about that. The first time I've ever seen it was actually in the lot near my child's daycare at the time, and it was in its what I now know was its second year in full bloom. Here's a picture of what that looks like, and it produces these small yellow flowers in its cycle, and this is the last stage when it's at the end of its cycle. The flowers can be harvested as well as the leaves, but from my experience and at the point in which I first received it, which was at this point, I have found that once it goes to flower and it basically spreads its seeds, it becomes quite a handful. I actually do have quite a bit of them growing around from 3 years ago when I thought I got rid of all of them because it can take over a garden if you allow it to go to flower. Before you know it, it's a hard thing to get rid of, but now that I have a use for it and I've known how to cultivate it and use it for tea, I have found it to be like one of my good friends. So I don't mind it so much. I just try to keep it under control, and that's easily done by just putting it to use. So, in the first year of the plant, you will get small rosettes like this with very soft leaves. When they are light in color and about this size, these are a good time to use them. As you can see, young leaves, very bright in color, very soft to the touch. All you would have to do is make sure that there are no bugs, no eaten holes, nothing that would look like rot or any type of mold on your plant, and you would clip that for use. It can be used immediately or it can be dried, and we will go into that shortly. So, uses for this plant are typically for asthma, cough, common cold, bronchitis. People with COPD have been known to use this tea as well. I've even heard some smoke it. That's something I would not try with my condition, but if anyone has, feel free to reach out and leave a comment if it worked for you or not. Anything you would like to add would definitely be appreciated because the more we share what we know, the more we grow as a species. Mullein is an expectorant and it does help to expel excess mucus. I do actually find it to be more beneficial as a tincture, but soothing as a tea. I would caution to definitely test before to make sure that you don't have any allergies right away, just to the touch of it before you even go into ingesting it. These fine hairs have been known to cause some irritation on the touch, and I will go into how we can ensure that we filter that out once we are in preparation. So another tea that I want to talk about, which is pretty common, mint. It can be eaten raw, it can be dried, crushed over food, applied to the skin, it can be inhaled. So many wonderful uses. But today we're going to talk about mint tea. This particular mint is actually a piece that I had gotten from store, regular grocery store, and sat it in water for a few days to allow it to root and planted it outside. Rent is rent. Mint is also known to be one of those type of plants that can take over a yard. So I keep it in a grow bag to keep it contained and from spreading. I find that in this large bag, I get more mint than I can handle at any given time. It has been a perennial for me, so I have not had to plant it again. I only treat the soil, and with that, I continuously have been getting mint from this one piece from the store for 4 years now. So there are many different types of mint, from everything from peppermint to spearmint, chocolate mint. So definitely, I would say, depending on the type that you would like to grow, you should definitely do your research. Mint does not take a lot of care. It can just be planted and watered infrequently, and it will grow. Like I said, originally mine just grew in like a cup of water, and it grew that way for some time before I planted it. And the taste was that of, I guess, wet grass. Because when a plant is not getting nutrients, it can grow. It doesn't grow as well without the soil or some type of medium that would give it the extra vitamins and minerals that would give it the property we know it to have, in this case, the menthol. And it's there, it's just not as strong. When you are harvesting your mint, you can clip just below the second to last or last leaf. You still want to leave a little bit to continue to grow. Obviously, the more you leave, the better, but you definitely want to not be scared about clipping back your plants. This helps to encourage new and healthy growth. You can completely take half off the top if you like. I would say just avoid cutting too close to the base of the wood where it would not be able to regenerate itself. With mint, I have done this in the past, but as you can see, it grew back anyway. So if you want growth within the same season, just as full, give it some space to do that. If you're trying to cut it down for the season and you don't really want any more growth, you could possibly go for a little bit lower. So now I will just use my fingernail to pinch off a stem. You want to inspect it, of course, make sure it is healthy. If you are going to use it, be sure to rinse thoroughly. You'll position your thumb and index finger of one hand at the top where the stem is firm, and use your other hand to lightly pinch the stem just below that. Drag those fingers down the stem. This is the easiest way to strip the leaves. Or you can pull them apart, leaf by leaf. It's your choice. So heading to the kitchen, this you see here in the coffee filter is dried melon. Either dry or fresh can be used to make the tea. I will be showing the dried use. When the tea is brewed, it can be filtered through a coffee filter, or you can simply use a tea bag. You can also even use a nylon or mesh bag with a string. I would recommend an unbleached natural fiber bag, which this is not, but can be found online. Melon hairs are irritating to the throat and mucous membranes. And of course, you do not want to accidentally inhale them. So make sure you do filter them. Sometimes I like to add a little orange peel and cinnamon to boost the vitamin C and anti-inflammatory effects of my tea. And to go a step further, I sometimes use distilled water. On average, I use about 2 cups of water. I normally don't measure, I just kind of gauge by the amount of my ingredients and how strong I want my tea. You can pour the hot water over your tea or bring it just to a boil and turn it off. The best results would be from steeping with hot water and allowing to cool for 20 to 30 minutes, whether dry or fresh. You can complicate things with mint, but why? Drop the leaves in the water and let it be. If you start with room temperature water, or if you start with hot water, or if you dropping it in cold water, doesn't matter.
The aroma is so strong. You get a little tingle in your nose from the mint. And mine actually, I had in the fridge for about 2 days because I really wanted to get a really good infusion. And you gotta realize that when you're doing infusions, it's a slow process.
Bonus time, so I am foraging in the community garden for some red clover. Red clover is another plant that can be found growing wild in undisturbed lots, in sidewalks, in grasses and lawns. But remember, you should not use or eat plants from areas where the soil can be toxic or unclean, or where a dog or domestic animals may be using it as a bathroom. If you are not sure, just don't do it. It's been hot when this video was taken, so these guys are a bit scorched. Let's keep looking. So I found another area in this garden that have a few that are not so scorched from the sun. Beautiful, aren't they? So we're gonna pick those and have some tea. These are truly beautiful specimens. Even though they're still late in the season, they still look really good. I'm gonna give them a quick rinse. I'll just pop them in here, pour some water, shake it, drain it out, check to make sure there's no bugs or anything. Then I'm just going to heat up my kettle. Okay, so I'm just taking the flowers. I'm gonna drop them on in the cup. And I'm just going to add my hot water. Nothing to it. It is a source of magnesium, niacin, phosphorus, thiamine, vitamin C, chemicals that mimic estrogen, just to name a few minerals. It has been proven to be useful for cardiovascular health, menopause, osteoporosis, cancer treatments, just to name a few benefits there as well.
So once this steeps, which should be an average of about 5 minutes or so if you cover it, the same as you would any herbal teas. Once it has fully infused with the hot water, it will turn white and will be absent of a lot of the beautiful color that it had. These are edible. The leaves are edible. If you have a bit of the stem, that too is edible. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, no matter where or when you're watching. Please support the Lifestyle Foundation and learn more about cystic fibrosis. And now I'll be sipping some tea. Bye.